All right, this is Clayton County Magistrate Court bond hearing calendar. Today's date is May 1st, 2026. This is the state of Georgia versus Steve McBride and warrant numbers 2025 CW 57477, 57478, 2026 WA 01481, and 2026 WA 01482. All parties are present and have announced ready to proceed. Mr. Rogers, I hear from you.
Thank you, Judge. So in this case, again, we're past the 90-day mark, Judge, based on my math and the date that the jail shows Mr. McBride has been taken in, which was January the 8th, 2026. That would put us at approximately 113 days, I believe it is. 113 days is what I have by the calculator. So at this point, again, Mr. McBride is entitled to a bond at this point. I would say that, I guess some other things that I would also mention. For one, Mr. McBride, and again, I'm going to speak to these, but my position is that the factors as far as whether to set a bond are kind of irrelevant at this point. Because again, the state, they can indict, they have not indicted. So the question of whether to set a bond is moot statutorily. But I speak on the fact that Mr. McBride doesn't own property. As far as how long he's been living in Georgia, 40 years at this point. He's been at the same residence for 20 years. He was working before his arrest as a high-rise window cleaner. He wanted me to stress to you that he hadn't had a failure to appear before he attends court. And I would say that to speak to his record, just because, I know the state's going to speak on it, we can see that it's not great. But again, I would just ask the court not to treat bond as a way to impose a sentence before he's adjudicated on what he's been charged with. Additionally, as it relates to the allegations, the court, you heard, I believe, the prelim earlier this week, involving the two aggravated assault charges. The other set of charges doesn't, to my recollection of the hearing, does not involve a weapon or anything like that. It's essentially a domestic dispute that happened out in public. But that's what the other charges are about. Mr. McBride is fine with abstaining from contact with the parties involved. But he wanted me to stress to you that he's not a man of means, that he couldn't make it. He wanted me to stress to you that he had an opportunity to work out a bond at $85,000, but he was not able to. He wouldn't have been able to make that. So he hopes that the court will keep that in mind and set something a little more reasonably attainable for him. I think at this point, I recognize that there are quite a few charges. I would say even if the court was so inclined to set them at 10 apiece, I would still put them at $40,000, which is still a significant amount of money, especially for someone who's been in since January and hadn't been able to work in that time. So for those reasons, Judge, I would ask for the bond to be set in the amount of $40,000. Additionally, Mr. McBride wanted me to advise you that if you would permit, he would like to be able to address the court. So I told him I'll relay that request.
Where's your case, Mr. Rogers? So you have a witness?
I'd have to speak on to see because if you're going to want me, well, let me ask, based on the way you asked the question, Judge, are you saying you're going to want him to essentially testify under oath in that sense?
That's correct.
Okay. Let me speak to him and see what he wants to do as far as I think he kind of wants to orate.
Okay.
And I don't know if you want, can I jump in
the breakout room?
Or yeah, I didn't know if you want ADA Thomas to have her chance to respond before that, however you want to do it.
Just I guess we can go in order. I'll let you speak to him so that way when you finish, ADA Thomas will finish up.
Okay.
All right, so I'll stop the live stream. We'll be in recess for you all to talk.